Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock and this is Planet Zoo. We are currently doing career mode, and I probably did an hour-long episode about the next item in the career, the second tutorial. I got it to gold off screen because I couldn't figure out how to get the last bit to get gold on screen. I'm not going to actually post that. I'm going to replay the Madagascan Simian conservation project. I took a really long time to find certain things in the interface, and on rewatching that video, I just can't imagine it would be entertaining to people to watch me struggling to find parts of the interface. I think I need to be faster on the pause button. So I will try to pause the video more. I could go back and edit and cut the video, but the problem with doing that is that's going to then cut off some of the stuff I said. And so I'm not entirely sure that the overall result, although it would be shorter, would be any more enjoyable to watch. So I've seen somebody else play through these scenarios, obviously much faster than I did. He was just trying to check the boxes until he had done a few of the parks, and then he said, okay, now I'm going to try to make pretty stuff. But he also is very familiar with the game and had already done the franchise mode and learned all the building tricks, which I don't know. And so things like I couldn't get the paths to connect up, and I couldn't get the exhibits to appear on the higher paths, which I'd seen him do, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. I don't know all the keybinds. I'm just learning some of those, and some of them aren't necessarily obvious. So I don't think you guys need to watch me struggle my way through that. One thing I do want to point out as we're watching the world go around is you can see how these two zoos are gold. That's because I've hit gold star on them and the others are not colored. And those are all possible zoos you could go to, right? Like the Panda Park. So we're going to go to the Madagascan project and we're going to try this again. So this is an ape sanctuary. And so it's got primates, monkeys, and apes and orangutans. And we're going to start a new one and we're going to try to do it over again. And hopefully I'll be smart enough to cut this after 20 or 30 minutes. And not try to get all the way to gold in a single playthrough. One of the problems is this game is really engaging and fun, and I don't have the same clock in my head for how much time has gone by as I do with City of Heroes. It's easy in City of Heroes. I know after 2 or 3 missions it's probably time to stop because it's about a half an hour, but it's hard to tell with this game. And once again, this is a gorgeous design. The developers did a beautiful job building this park.
It's quite the change of scenery from dreary old England, huh? Apart from the weather, I suppose. They don't call these places rainforests for nothing. The zoo you'll be working in is an ape sanctuary, where we're doing vitally important conservation work. Not just for apes, but for all kinds of species. But apes...
Beautiful,
well,
beautiful building.
Apes are some of the
They
closest
did a beautiful
relatives
job
to
on these
humans there
structures.
are. And yet, the way the world
Absolutely
treats them
gorgeous.
is like, well, very much like some of us treat our actual relatives. Anyway, that's why I'm determined that our operation here does some good. If we can all leave some part of the world in a better state than we found it, we'll have lived lives worth living.
Very
And
nice.
speaking of states, I have a
Look how
horrible
pretty.
feeling I left the house in the right one. When I get back, I expect my life won't be worth living at all.
Lots of great
What do you think of
decorations. It's
Madagascar
very,
then?
very pretty.
Bit warm for my taste, to be honest. Anyway, this is Bernie's primate sanctuary. It's not just primates, though. We've got all sorts of animals. So why don't we go and have a look at some of them, eh? We'll start by taking a look at the red-ruffed lemurs. They're the ones that look like they should be in a Shakespeare play. Come on,
Shakespeare
let's head
play?
over to them.
Why? So one of the things that you probably will notice... There we go. One of the things that you probably will notice is I am not going to be able to... I'm not going to be good enough to build things like this right now, early on. You have to learn all the building tricks in a building game to be able to do pretty things like that. These guys clearly learned some lessons from Roller Coaster Tycoon. One of the things that you'll see is all of the structures, like shops and stuff, such as this shop. They have all of these pretty materials around them. In Roller Coaster Tycoon, you couldn't actually put in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, this is, you couldn't actually put the decorative materials directly up against something like a shop. So what we used to do was have to play tricks like placing the shop here and then putting a building all around it and leaving lots of space around it just to kind of hide the shop to make it less unattractive. But here they actually clearly have decided not to have the structural parts collide with the shop, so you can go ahead and put all of the pretty decorations and roofs right directly up against the shop, and it makes it look realistic and makes it look nice. So they clearly learned some lessons about what people like to do when they build. But when it comes to the various tricks of how to do elevated paths, I mean, I tried to do that on the last episode. It just took me forever. So I don't know how much of that I'm going to do on screen. I'll try to learn a little of it, but I'm also going to try to pause it when I'm figuring things out, and I'll bring you guys back. And I think it's going to take a while for me to get the alchemy right on how much to have you watch so that you can learn from what I'm doing and do it yourself, and how much to turn off that you don't need to watch. And I think what I may do is perhaps show you a little bit of the struggle, and once I start to figure out like what the right keybind is, okay, this is how it works, then pause it, build a whole habitat, and then bring you back when I've done all the fences, so that learning how to build the fence is one thing, but watching me screw around with making it look nice may not be the most interesting part of the video. So I'm gonna have to play around with that, and I appreciate any comments that folks may make about what they want to see. If you actually would enjoy me blundering around in the interface and struggling with what to do, I can record that. I just don't think it would be that entertaining, so let me know. Alright, so here's the red lemur habitat.
Red ruffed lemurs are found in the rainforests.
These guys are really cute. I'm a big fan of lemurs.
Madagascar. They can
Look at
actually
that.
live anywhere from
Very
15
cute.
up to 25 years.
They need some more enrichment in here.
See that, eh? Okay, when you're ready, let's go find our Bornean orangutans.
But we're not going to enrich them yet, I guess. We have to find the Bornean orangutans. I'm a big fan of them as well. I love all sorts of primates. Primates are really neat animals. So here are the Bornean orangutans.
The Bornean orangutan is such a marvellous creature. They're always a big favourite at any zoo they feature
Yep.
in. And they're
There's an
also
orang.
the biggest tree-dwelling animal on the planet.
Activate the
Assume you don't
animal
count any
camera.
lions that got stuck up one. Oh, why don't you
There
take
he
a closer
is.
look at them?
Very
Open
cool.
up the information panel and go into the animal camera. Aren't they just incredible?
Yep.
When you're ready,
Drinking
let's
water.
go and have a look-see at some of our beautiful bonobos. They're quite the characters.
Bonobos are pygmy chimps. So let's see where they are. They're another favorite of mine. Pretty much every primate they mention in this, I'm going to say, is a favorite of mine because I just love primates.
Oh dear! It looks
Uh-oh.
like we've arrived just in time. One of the habitat's barriers has collapsed. And wouldn't you know it, one of the bonobos has made a run for it.
Uh-oh.
We'll need to catch them. But before we do, we should box up the other bonobos to stop them escaping too. Select the habitat boundary to bring up the
So you
habitat
click the boundary
information
here.
panel.
Click the animal information,
Good.
and then
Now
what I couldn't
open the
find
Animals tab.
was box all
And
animals.
click on Box All Animals
There
to
we go.
box up the
So now
remaining
they're in the
bonobos.
boxes.
Now, we'll need a vet to recapture that escaped bonobo, but it seems our last one left to do some research in the wild. Not an ideal situation.
So don't know where the bonobo
we'll
went.
need to hire a replacement, sharpish.
All right,
Go
so
into
let's
the
go
zoo
into the zoo
section,
management.
and then into the staff management area.
And there's the staff, and we
You
can
can
hire
find
a vet.
all of your staff in here, but there's no time to go looking at their particulars at the moment. Hire a vet. Great, now let's deal with our escapee before they can cause too much havoc. Use the animal alerts to jump to the escape.
There he is! Look at that's
And then
hilarious.
click on the call vet button to call
He's
the
chasing
vet over to
people around. I
capture it.
love it. That is so cute. That is super, super fun. I love it. So eventually the vet will take care of this guy and bring him back. Let's call the vet to the animal.
Oh, okay, that's a relief. So while the vet deals with our bonobo friend, let's go fix up their habitat so they can't escape again. Head back over there.
All right, so
As
here's
you
the
can
broken
see,
section.
The barrier's collapsed. Someone's taken their eye off the ball, obviously.
Yep.
Let's get this one replaced.
So now we have to repair it.
Select the barrier and then we'll edit it. Delete the broken section of barrier and replace it with a brand spanking new one.
So let's... Do we have this selected? I don't want to delete the whole thing. Okay, let's see what happens if we hit delete. Oh, we have to edit. Okay. And that part has to be deleted. And now replace a new one.
Good. Now
There we
that
go.
we've done that, we need to make sure to add climb-proof barriers to the top. That way the bonobos won't be able to climb out. Just make sure you've got the correct piece of barrier selected
So
when
climb
you do
proof. And do we
that.
want to do
Okay,
inside
so
or
go
outside?
into
We want to do
options
the
section
inside.
and select which side
And
the
there it
climb-proof
is.
barrier needs to go on. And don't get it wrong.
Right, I think you can do
I'm
both
more worried
as
about
well.
bonobos climbing out than guests climbing in. Nicely done. And I think it's high time we unbox those bonobos, wouldn't you say? The poor mites will get sad if we leave them in there for
Alright, so
too
let's
long.
unbox our guys.
Select the habitat barrier to bring up the habitat information panel again.
Go
And
animals.
then open the animals tab.
Unbox.
And finally, click on unbox all animals to let them out.
And we did.
I expect some of them are fair bursting for the toilet. So, it turns out that as well as the old vet
These guys are
leaving,
super
there's
cute.
those
I really
mechanics
love
did too.
chimps.
We'll need to hire a couple of new ones so we can help stop any more breakouts.
So mechanics
You see,
repair
mechanics
habitats
do
and exhibits.
all sorts of helpful things
They
around the
repair
zoo, but one of their
energy,
most important jobs
like the
is
solar
taking care
panels
of the
and so
habitat
forth.
barriers. Without mechanics around to repair them, the barriers will crack, crumble, and fall down. And
So now we
before
need
you
to
know it, we'll be
hire
overrun with
mechanics.
escaped animals. Go into the zoo section and then into the staff management area again. Hire a mechanic and then click on a path to place them in the zoo. And then
There's
click
one.
on the path again
There's
to
another.
hire a second mechanic.
Alright,
As you can
and we
see,
have
you
the
don't
Bronze
have to go
Star.
back into
Pretty
staff
easy.
management if you're hiring lots of the same type of staff member. Oh, gosh, we have been busy, haven't we? Good work there. I'm off
Very
for a
nice.
cuppa. Oh, I think Bernie wants a word with you.
So I'm going to just save this quickly. This is our second one. Can I not? Madagascan 2. This is our second attempt at this, and now we're going to resume.
Oh, I hear you had a bit of an issue with an escape bonobo.
So that was 12 minutes.
The
Maybe
main
we'll do
thing is
silver
that you dealt
here
with it
as well, and
swiftly.
then we will
And more
stop.
importantly, without the animals stealing someone's clothes, putting them on, and then walking out of the front gate.
What a pretty
You
zoo.
see, another key
Beautiful game.
responsibility for our vets is animal research. Researching animals allows vets to unlock new enrichment items, additional information for our education resources, enhanced breeding programs, and improvements to food quality. Oh, the animals' food, not the vets. It'll take more than a research grant to improve the staff canteen. Anyway, as you can see, research is a key part of running your zoo. In order for a vet to undertake research, they require a research centre. And once again, that's something that this zoo is missing. So let's build one. I've marked out an area for you to put it. Now, you've probably noticed that there's already a building where I want you to build the research centre.
Right. Now this I had
Don't
trouble
worry.
with last
You see,
time.
the building that's currently there is actually a hollow shell. So we're able to place our new building inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you select the research centre for placement and then hover over the shell, you'll see that it asks if you want to add the research centre to the existing building. Okay, click to add it to the building. Oh, but that won't place it in just yet, though. First, we'll need to rotate our research centre so it automatically connects to the path when we place it.
Okay, so the last time that didn't work, but this time it seems like it might. Nope. So I don't know what she means by hover over the building and then click it, because... No, that's obviously not right. So let's try this again. Replay the
Okay,
dialogue.
click to add it to the building. Oh, but that won't place it in just yet, though.
Click to add it
First,
to
we'll
the
need to
building.
rotate our research centre so it automatically connects to the path when we place
Constructed,
it.
you see? So I still don't know what's going on with this. Let's see. C is not rotating. Alright guys, let me pause this here and see if I can figure this out, and I'll bring you back when I do, so that you don't have to watch me struggle.
Work.
Alright,
Now
I
that we have
managed
a
to do it.
brand
I'm not
spanking
exactly
new
sure
research centre,
why,
we can give our
but it
vets
did
something
manage
do
to
in there.
work.
Oh, by the way, it's worth noting that the vets will only do research when they're not required to do any other jobs. That said, you can change what jobs a vet does via their information panel. But let's not worry about that just now.
Alright, so
let's
before
get
we
our
do
vet
any of that,
researching ring-tailed lemurs. Go into the zoo section and select Vet Research.
I would like to clean this up and make it look prettier. See if we can... Why can we not put this down? Well, I thought I could try to make it look prettier, but it doesn't seem to want to let me do that. Can we... No? And it may be that they want me to do certain things and they just don't want me to put anything in here, but I could have sworn I saw somebody go ahead and add building parts to this section. Anyway, you can see how the building is inside this structure, so it looks nicer than if it was just out on its own. I guess we'll continue with the tutorial, guys, because I don't want to make you watch me struggle to try to make the front entrance of this a little bit prettier. So we need to research. So we go to the zoo, and we click on the
Here,
research.
You can see a list of
And
all
here's
the
Christopher
animals
Bauer,
present
our
in your zoo, and also
first
all the
vet.
potential diseases that can occur. Now, drag and drop your vet onto the ring-tailed lemur to start their research.
And now we're researching them. We have 4 levels
Thinking
of the
about
ringtail,
it,
so they're
I'm
researching
not sure
level
we've
5.
got any education boards or speakers by the lemur's habitat.
And now they're going to
Let's
teach us
head
how to
over
do
there and
education
ask them, so our
boards.
guests can learn all about the furry little delights.
So here are the ring-tailed lemurs. And what we're going to do now is educate the public about them. Yes, I located the highlighted area.
First off, let's pop down 2 education boards. Place them on the habitat barriers at a height that guests can see, or, if you like, pop them down on a stand.
Alright, so here are our education boards. And we want to rotate them so that they are facing the public. And so we'll put one board here. And we'll put one board on the other side over here, so that people can learn about the lemurs.
Okay, now that they've been put into position, we have to tell them what animal to display information about. Select one of the education boards to bring up its information
And you
panel.
can see that they tell you
And
all
from
about
the
the
drop-down
ring-tailed
list,
lemur.
Select ring-tailed lemur. Although I'm sure that last part was obvious. When you
And we
link
need
an
to do
education
that for the
board
other
or
one.
a speaker to an animal, you need to make sure that said animal is close by. If it isn't, the guests will get confused and won't learn as much.
Come on. Why is this not... That one worked. Why is this one not letting me select it? That's very strange. It's the same thing as this, right? No, it's a different thing. I don't know what happened there. Alright, and let's go ahead and ring-tailed lemur.
Now that we've done the
Oh, this was
education
something
board,
else
let's
that
pop
they had
down
put
a pair of
down.
Speakers. Speakers play audio to the guests, so they can learn while they look at the animals, instead of having to go through the laborious process of reading. Oh, one thing to bear in mind is that it's important not to put the speakers too close together. If you do, the guests won't be able to understand
That's
what's
one.
being said.
And there's another. That shouldn't be too close.
Now we simply need to link the speakers to the ring-tailed lemurs. Just
So
like
now
we
we're
did
going
with the
to
education
have it
boards.
talking to them about the ringtails. Guys, get out of my way so I can click this. And you just saw somebody throw a donation in the donation bin.
Fantastic.
This donation bin's
It's
collected
worth
52
remembering
bucks.
that education boards and speakers both need power to work. They won't do much good without it. Ooh, it looks as though our vet has completed their research on ring-tailed lemurs. We'll need to collect the results. We can do that by clicking on the notification or by going back into the
And
vet
there is our
research
research
area.
complete.
Go on, collect your research rewards. Just so you know, vets will continue to
So now you can
research
see
an
there's
animal
more
even after
information here
successfully completing a research
on the
level.
board because we've gained more
I suppose when
research.
you're in the zone, you're in the zone. Well, now that
welfare
we've enriched
on the
the lives
ring-tailed
of our
lemur.
guests, let's enrich the lives of our ring-tailed lemurs. Some animals, like lemurs, will have a climbing need. That means they have a requirement for a certain amount of climbing space, and you can fulfill that requirement by building them a climbing frame. Let's find out how much more climbing space our lemur friends need, shall we? Select one of them and bring up their information panel. Next, click on the Terrain tab.
So they need twice as much climbing.
As you can see, the lemurs need quite a lot more climbing space. But as it happens, I've already got a climbing frame blueprint built for you. So you can either pop that down or build one yourself from scratch. By the way, it's not always just climbing needs that you have to worry about. Other animals might need a certain amount of water in their habitat.
So this is the blueprint that they've already built.
They certainly do keep us on our toes.
I found this very hard to fit into the habitat the last time. And certainly very difficult to fit in a way that looked nice. So I'm going to try building my own. So let's try and see what we can get, what we can come up with. We have these platforms here, and I think we should see if we can sort of extend from the platform. I don't want it floating. Shift lowers things, so there we go. And let's try, oops, no, I want to undo that. Let's start again. I want something tall is too much. I think these are good. So we'll lower this just a little bit so that it's in the ground. That looks good. And then we'll come back here and we'll place, again, shift down into the ground. And over here, let's see. There we go. And so now we can place platform on top of this, right? So they can climb. Now we need some angles so they can climb up to it. Let's see. Z to rotate. And shift to pull it down. And now they can climb onto it.
Oh, that's a great climbing
Just
frame
that
for them. They're
is
going to
enough.
absolutely
That's ridiculous.
love it. Do you know what would make them even happier, though? Nicer food. But that's true of all of us, though, isn't it?
Nicer food.
You can
okay.
unlock better quality food for animals through research. Luckily, we've already unlocked some for the lemurs, so all that remains is to make sure they get served it from now on. Let's bring up the habitat information panel by selecting the lemur habitat.
There we go.
Lovely. Now
Animals.
select the animals tab.
And you can see there we're spending
There we
$800 a
go.
day to
As you
feed
can
them,
see, we can set
and
the
by
food
upping the
quality in
quality,
here.
it only is
Just
another
click
extra
on the drop-down
$100.
menu and select grade
now
2
they really
food
like that.
quality. Grade 2 food quality. My mouth's already watering. So, a new
They should be
climbing
pretty
frame
happy now.
and better food.
But they want some more enrichment.
You've really spoilt those lemurs rotten. Now, I think it's time we looked at one of the zoo's most important responsibilities, releasing animals into the wild. You see, when we feel an animal is ready, we can release them into the wild. But what makes an animal a good candidate for release? Well, their age is an important factor. I mean, we
see, I
can't release
can't
an animal
place
that's a
any of these
juvenile,
'cause
just
it's
as we
not
can't release one that's gotten
Part
too
of the
old.
tutorial.
They'll also need to be fertile. After all, the idea is to repopulate the wild, so the best candidates will have a high fertility gene. And together, the age and fertility of a candidate will determine how many conservation credits we'll be rewarded when we release them. Now, conservation credits are vitally important.
That's down here?
They're the lifeblood of your zoo, because earning them allows you to adopt even more animals. And what's more, the animals you can adopt will be of a higher quality. So, with that in mind, let's pop over to our orangutan habitat.
Orangs.
I'd like you to find Agang, the Bornean orangutan in the habitat, and select him, please. You can either click through each orangutan in turn, or select the habitat barrier, go to the animals tab in the habitat information panel, and find him in the animals list.
There he is. Release him to the wild. Well, let's take a look at him first. With the animal cam. Goodbye, Agang. See ya.
I know, it's sad to see him go.
And we now
But he'll
have
be
the
happy out in
silver
wild.
star
And
for
he's
this
a
zoo.
wonderful candidate for release. Young, strong, and fertile. Excellent work there. You've definitely got potential, you know.
Alright, folks, I think we're going to stop that here. And we will pick up
I
the
see you've been
gold
doing some
in the next
homework,
episode.
Although it hardly seems like work when you're learning about something.
Until next
that
time,
doesn't
I
have
am
a ring
Scrapperlock,
to it.
and this has
I
been
imagine
Planet
I'd
Zoo.
have got much better grades at school if there'd been less algebra and more aldebra. Tortoises.